Hello, I'm Carrie Klataski, reading from Becoming and Belonging, Supporting the Healthy Social Emotional Development of the Young Child, a weekend early childhood research group collaboration edited by Holly Cotin Soleil. I'm reading Chapter 2, Relationship, Anchor and Sail. All flourishing is mutual. A father folded his lanky, angular frame into the straight-backed wooden chair, his daughter's chair. Shifting his weight onto his knees, he leaned forward as his gaze took in the surroundings of what was his child's first school home. He smiled broadly as I, the teacher, told him of his daughter's trust and courage in adapting not just to the space of school, but to a place where language, environment, food, and culture were not what she knew. With some bemusement, he told me how his daughter now corrected his English at home. He leaned in closer with a direct gaze before continuing. My wife and I talk about this, about what my daughter is learning here at school. We see that she is learning to be a good person. Nothing is more important to us than this, to be a good person. A child enters the world, first breath, the breath of life. Respiration. My breath, my body, my people, my place. I breathe on my own. My basic biologic process is automatic and unconscious. Everything else about my being and its development is affected by the world around me. Some of this I will see and experience directly. Most I will experience through others. Experiences will build my brain, but my brain does not live alone. It lives in connection with the rest of my body, and this is critically important for my development. Relationships, the nested circles of interwoven realities from stars to planets, from mountains to rivers, from humans to more humans, will build me. And so I need you. I need people who care, whom I can count on, who see me and love me for who I am and who I am meant to become. I hear in the breath of my people that they need the same. They too need others who care and appreciate them for all the ways in which they are different from each other, even with all of our human imperfections. As different as we are from one another, as unique as each of us is, we are much more than the same than we are different. It is a very important message to impart to us children. It will help us grow toward being caring, compassionate, and charitable adults. Some of you will become my teachers. Teachers, dear teachers, you will need my family. Family, dear family, you will need my teachers. I need you to be curious and interested in each other. We are complicated and fascinating creatures, with such stories to share. Each of us has a light to bring to the other. To give and receive each other's light is a gift for the world. How I hope that you will treat each other with tenderness and respect. A very wise person poetically urged us to have soft eyes with each other. Is that not a beautiful image to guide us in our everyday interactions with each other? Too much is at stake here, the task too arduous for us not to recognize that the spaces in between us are calling out for connection. We need to do this together, anew and always renewing. I may come to you as more of a mystery than you were expecting. Please reach deep within yourself to be patient with what you do not understand. I have wisdom, as do you. Please listen to the echoes of our shared inner wisdom. It will help to guide you in how and what you teach me about the world. It will be many years before I will be ready to walk alone without you close by. The earth also needs people who care. I can hear the earth's loneliness in its broadest, most intimate of spaces. Please listen. I need you to listen deeply. Listening is where love begins. Listening to ourselves, to each other, to our natural and social worlds. Some of what is most important for you to hear and important as a bridge for understanding and connection, will not come to you from what I say in words. My body will speak to you. It will tell you when I am afraid. My eyes will speak to you. They will tell you when I feel safe and protected or not. Understanding how my body holds emotions and experiences will help me learn how to find my balance. I will need your help with this as well. When I feel that the earth is firm beneath my feet, I become a tree with roots deep and branches strong, a sanctuary for myself and for others. Please be attentive. I need your true attention so that I may feel safe. The world is going too fast for me, and I need you to notice your own habits, pace, practices, and inclinations. Presence is more important than productivity. This is something I need to learn from you. I need to see stillness in you so that I may learn that as well. When you have inner stillness and are attentive and slow down, you will experience remarkable delights in life along with me. Things like the furry caterpillar that unfurls from his tight ball to stretch and creep across the path in the late morning sun. How special it could be for us to have time to linger over such discoveries together. I bet you can feel in your body what it was like to watch bees in your grandmother's flower garden. Does this memory not bring a smile to your face? Please remember these little joys. They are the slender threads of which we weave the lifeline that connects us to a world beyond ourselves. I want to say yes to life, even though I may sometimes see the shadow side of the human condition. Please help me to be confident as I enter into my earthly life. Finally, I must say that many of you need to learn to breathe again. I need you to show me how to breathe beautifully, to breathe truly and deeply. We cannot breathe well without each other. I cannot breathe well without you. And do you know what happens in the rhythms of our shared respiration? Respiration. We take in a breath that is connected to a healing spirit. Our belonging is rooted in the living body of the earth, woven of the flows of time and relationship that form our bodies, our communities, our climate. The world around us, the world our children are entering, is hurting. Children face an uncertain future. A Joint Commission report by the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and a Lancet finds that climate change, ecological degradation, migrating populations, prolonged and growing conflict, rise in digital technology, pervasive inequalities, and predatory commercial practices threaten the health and future of children in every country. Childhood is protected under the UN Convention on Rights of the Child. According to the convention, childhood lasts until a person is 18 years old and is a special, protected time in which children must be allowed to grow, learn, play, develop, and flourish with dignity. But for all the reasons named above, childhood is changing. A high-pitched sound cut through the misty morning as the kindergarten children played. I heard anguish in the sound and walked to where a boy lay thrashing on the wet ground. He pounded the earth with closed fists. He kicked the earth with his sturdy rubber boots. He screamed and he cried with tears streaking down his flushed cheeks and sweat glistening in beads along his hairline. I stood nearby, close enough, but not too close. I saw his eyes move to take in my presence. He knew I was there. Other children, curious and caring, came to stand with me. We were silent. The crying and screaming began to ease. The force of the kicking and pounding dissipated. I saw the child begin to breathe more deeply again. Still lying face down, his chest rose and fell more rhythmically. I took a step closer and paused to see if he was ready. He looked up from the ground, gazed into my eyes, and said, They were looking at me. They were looking at me. Gaze and encounter as anchors. Look at me. Don't look at me. Are you my friend? Can I really trust you? The gaze is one of the most important cues for human connection, communication, and social interaction. The gaze of an infant, which begins at around 3 months, is open, earnest, and penetrating. An infant does not turn his gaze away. When the steadfast gaze of an infant is returned, the child finds its first stable relationship. The child develops trust in another and participates in the earliest forms of call and response, serve and return, the giving, receiving gift of the divine. These interactive exchanges reveal dialogue in its truest form. Confidence and joy in being part of this world are affirmed in these encounters. Our task and the anchoring practice is to bring recognition to the power of the loving gaze, to become once again so capable of relating to others as we ourselves were as young children, in order not to disappoint this gaze. Relating begins with seeing and discerning for ourselves how we lift our gaze out into the world. Knowing how to lift the gaze and to respond to another's emotional and physical needs is what it means to co-regulate. Co-regulation begins before birth as a baby hears the sounds of its mother's voice. The human voice, the mother's voice, brings comfort. Mystery and science come together in considering the creative power of human encounter when carried through a loving, wondering, caring gaze. A growing body of research suggests that in face-to-face interactions, the nervous systems of 2 or more individuals interact in a way that supports mutual well-being and emotional connection. When people co-regulate, their heart rate, respiration, and emotional states can become synchronized. This synchronization often occurs through nonverbal cues, such as facial expression, tone of voice, and touch. In other words, my embodied state communicates safety to you, or not. Co-regulation to me is like keeping good company. In its linguistical roots, to keep company means to share bread with one another. In practice, as my best teachers, the children, have taught me, co-regulation means to be present, available, and to respond to someone in need so that the other does not feel alone. There's no single way to keep good company when another is stressed or distressed, fearing, fighting, or frozen, hungry for food, rest, warmth of caring connection, to speak or not, to touch or not, to look toward or away. To answer these questions and more requires that we pause, slow down, look, and listen. Look and listen again from a place of stillness and wonder. There's no template for co-regulation. It all depends upon this moment with this child in this context and this situation. We must attune to the individual child. When teachers co-regulate or attune their responses to the diverse needs of individual children, they support the skill of self-regulation in a group setting. Co-regulation depends upon the caregiver's own capacity for self-regulation. If we were to identify anchoring practices, I would say that it always comes back to getting closer to the children through our observations and contemplations, to be conscious of our own emotional state and inner mood, and to embrace the mystery of each encounter as a sustaining force. This fosters mutual development. Without encounter, Dr. Glockler writes, there is no development. Development is a creative process of the space between human beings and things. That is why education, if it wants to promote healthy development, is really the forming of relational spaces. Our inner attitude is an intractable anchor available to help us sail through storms that are often, always, storms of our own making. Heimgenot is helpful here. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. It is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, and a person is humanized or dehumanized. Elevating routines end to rituals. This is a wonderful day. I've never seen this one before. A quote from Maya Angelou. Teacher, you know the bestest part of my day? It's when we do the running line, and I get to whisper what animal I am in your ear, and then I get to run as hard and as fast as I can down the hill, unless it's one of those days when I roll down the hill because I'm a roly-poly, or I hop down the hill because I'm a frog, or I crawl down the hill because I'm a kitty. Or, teacher, some days I just want to wait. I just wait and not do any of that stuff. Just wait and maybe walk down together with you. Actually, the bestest part of my day is when we sit all together and make bread, and I smell the bread baking, and I can't wait to eat the bread. And then we sing the bread song, and we talk about everything and everyone who helps us be able to make our bread. Oh, when I get home after bread day at school, I like telling my big sister that we eat dirt when we eat bread. She says that's yucky. Well, I tell her she's wrong. Bread comes from the earth, and it's yummy. Yes, that's what I like best. No, that's not right. The bestest part of my day is when you wash my hands and face with that warm cloth that smells so good. Yeah, I like that. Even when I think I don't want it, I like it. And teacher, I get all quiet inside when you wash my hands. I know that you know the color of my eyes. That makes me feel good. When I think about how a simple act transforms an unthinking routine to a meaningful ritual, I return to a tea shop that I once stumbled into from outside street that were so loud and lively that they brought me into the edge of overwhelm. It was summer, but I felt cold. I had a map crammed into my pocket, but I felt lost. Those feelings evaporated when I entered this space. It was entirely unremarkable in its material furnishings. Among long benches next to the long tables, where fragments of conversations flowed quietly between and among those drinking tea, the tea shop lady silently floated about, filling cups and wiping tables. It wasn't just that she was all-knowing of the needs of her patrons, which she was. Nor was it just that her inner stillness suffused the space with a calm time out of time, which she did. It was that the way that everything flowed together, from how she poured the water and wiped the tables, to how she gazed in such a manner that strangers all felt that they had come home in this moment home. No thoughtful gesture is too small to bring us together. All bread must be broken so it can be shared. Together we eat this earth. Margaret Atwood. In this fragment of the poem All Bread, the poet asks us to pay attention to one small thing, a loaf of bread, and to see all of the things that are gathered within that small thing. This is the revelation, as I see it, of how a weekly activity, such as the making, baking, and breaking of bread, potentially holds the power of ritual. The aroma of bread baking in the oven touches the primordial place where human beings are their truest selves. I continue to contemplate the practice of what Orlund Bishop calls sacred hospitality, and I see that practice in the small, simple acts that anchor our social worlds, potentially in mystery and meaning, caring and connecting that goes beyond the everyday. Bread making can be more than making bread. Gestures of caring also offer opportunities for elevating the everyday into a deeper realm of meaning. By gesture, I mean the expression of a quality that goes beyond the immediate sense perceptible effect of the action. A caring gesture reaches out to touch body, soul, and spirit. The next time you are washing the hands of a young child, try asking yourself, what is the truth of water? What rises up for you internally? Share your insights face to face with someone else, like a colleague or parent. This is one way we might empower our everyday routines with ritual significance that brings meaning, purpose, and social well being to self and others. Bringing ritual to our everyday actions helps keep us anchored to the higher meaning of our work. Dr. Glockler expresses this beautifully. When we become conscious of what we are doing when washing an infant or toddler, when we are true and honest and let the truth of water live in us, then we wash the child in angel substance. Then she or he can physically experience what the guardian angel is spiritually: purity, gentleness, transparency, clarity, cleanliness, morality, regeneration, healing, comfort, refreshment. Why, I wonder, do we call hand washing a routine? We return to mystery as an anchor. All flourishing is mutual. Listening circles, opening up spaces for encounter. We need you to be so curious about each other, dear big people, and to help each other pause, reflect, and hear the wisdom of your own inner voices. You need special spaces to do this important work. Only when you quiet the chatter of worlds inside and out, when each person is free to be, when you listen, truly listen, can you meet each other. And then, once you take up this responsibility, which is every big person's responsibility, if we're able to be in harmony and understanding with each other and nature, the magic of human communication can dance freely. What is then possible? You can create something new together by stepping into this wonderful unknown. Where does your light come from, teacher? In our adult circles, how can we help each other find our light and keep it glowing with spirit? As we find ourselves midstream in a paradigm shift within which adults need to concern themselves with questions of self-development and self-reflection, there's a great need for social homes that support the unique inner development of adults. What do our circles need in order to foster the freedom, the development, and the greater truth of the other? The social home would be a place of mutual reciprocity and responsibility that recognizes the I of the other. A place that follows the principle of Ubuntu, the African wisdom that says, I am because you are. This may help us weave a fabric of mutual knowing that is resilient in the face of issues that otherwise might rip such fabric apart. What I will call listening circles are possible if there is a practice of creating intentional dedicated spaces using a clear process. We need to make places that are safe for the soul to facilitate the inner learning each of us has to do. First, this requires participation in the space to be truly invitational, the individual's choice. Nobody has to. For example, the common practice of going around a circle for introductions or check-ins at a faculty or parent meeting goes largely unexamined in my experience and looks more like compulsion than invitation. Instead, a facilitator might open a meeting by offering introductions or a group prompt as an opportunity to know and be known as the individual chooses. A listening circle is also a calm place where the undivided self can develop and find respect, warmth, and authenticity. The Center for Courage and Renewal, directed by Parker Palmer, uses an inquiry-based process to create such a space. To be inquiry-based requires a shared commitment to not fixing, advising, saving, or correcting one another. This asks us to learn to listen deeply and ask questions that help others hear their own inner wisdom more clearly. These questions are not advice in disguise. They have no purpose other than to help someone listen to their inner teacher. In the process, everyone learns and grows. Over decades of working with individuals and groups from a diverse range of backgrounds on this inquiry-based process for meeting circles, Palmer found that people learn to be present in a different way that transforms relationships when fixing or solving is not the purpose. Through the truth-telling of the individual, the group grows closer, while at the same time, the individual finds inner guidance. To accompany the children in our care in these times asks us to dig deeper into our own development. We can anchor ourselves to the mystery of the gaze and the encounter. Use the creativity to make spaces that resonate with the places we live and the people around us, and create places for listening and inner work. These tangible practices will help bring the social forms we need for mutual flourishing, so we can both be anchored and sail forward. It is important, wrote the poet William Stafford, that awake people be awake. Creativity is our human gift. Our world needs us to be awake and awakening to new things for beholding each other. For the darkness around us is deep. We can use our creativity to support this awakening.